Will you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
When you listen to all of these veterans talking, telling you what they had to do, remember one thing. We did it for you. We did it for God and country. It was world war. It was world war. Think of this seriously. You are all Americans. A lot of people don't seem to realize one thing that we have. All of us veterans, when we were overseas, we would see the United States flag flying from ships or from camps. We would see that flag and we said, that's home. Too many of the people today, when they look at the American flag, they do not honor it. That flag is America. It's you. When you see that flag flying, and you see it flying in the breeze, I want you to remember one thing. It's not the breeze that's blowing that flag. That flag is flying in the breeze from the last breaths of every American serviceman who loved and died for this country. Honor the country, honor your flag.
It's my honor to introduce you to one of today's speakers, my dad, Tyler Dunham. He served in the United States Navy as an electrician's mate, petty officer first class. In that role, he ensured that the Navy ships stayed powered, operational, and mission ready. His technical expertise, dedication, and leadership were vital parts of his team's success in the sea at safety. As his daughter, I see daily that he continues to embody the Navy's core values of honor, courage, and commitment in his life and community.
Well, good morning. I'll start with that's probably one of the coolest things for Dad. His daughter gets introduced him, so thank you, Lily. I'll say real quick, a couple weeks ago at the football game, senior night, and she started kind of crying, realizing it was coming to an end, so I got a little teary myself, and she laughed at me. So I'll try to hold it together today for you. All right, so I've been asked to talk about a few topics, about my experience and stuff that I've learned through my military experience of 8.5 years in the Navy. She did mention ships. I did spend a little bit of time in ships, a destroyer for a couple of years, and then down in Texas on the coastal mine hunter. But the majority of my military experience was in security forces. I did maritime security forces. I was actually a level 2 boat coxswain for the military. That is a security division. We had 3 different ones in the Navy, but I was in the level 2 position. I did make a deployment over to Kuwait. Spent a few weeks over in Iraq, doing security over there as well for top officials from Iraq, the United States, Australia, the United Kingdom. So I got a plethora of people to work with. It was a fantastic experience over there. But I lucked out, 8.5 years, 1 deployment. I don't think very many people get that lucky, so count my blessings every day. I did spend a short time, 30 days in Guatemala, on a more humanitarian mission. We were down there to help their army get ready for some of their own military upgrades with equipment, stuff like that, so we're security forces for them as well. Helped train a little bit there, but those are my big experiences as far as any kind of deployments I may have done in the Navy. The rest of my time spent as program manager at a schoolhouse for one of our big radar systems on our cruisers and destroyers. Outside of that, I was fortunate to get to go to EOD school. Unfortunately, I didn't make it to the dive portion. That was an experience I'll never forget. A lot of hard training, but again, a very good experience for me. So some of the other things, this might kind of go more to the kids, if you're thinking about getting into the military, stuff like that. Some of the benefits that I kind of enjoyed while I was there, obviously the medical benefits are always great. We were very fortunate, Luke and Lily were both born while I was in the Navy. Most of your parents know how expensive pregnancy can be and childbirth. We were fortunate to have to pay for any of that because the military took care of us. And of course, every medical thing we ever needed for the kids, they were always taken care of. So that was one of the things that I always really enjoyed as far as the benefit was concerned. I think one of the bigger ones, especially for the kids that might be considering the military, GI Bill, I can personally attest, is maybe the single greatest one I had. I'm fortunate to have completed my associate's degree, my bachelor's degree, and most recently my master's degree in education. All of that was paid for. You guys know, bachelor's degrees are anywhere from $60,000 to $80,000 for a 4-year degree. All of that was paid for. My graduate degree, after I became a teacher, I think it cost roughly $15,000 to go to school for 2 more years. All of that was paid for. That was just 2 years ago. So it stuck with me all the way until as old as I am now. So definitely a benefit if the kids are thinking about going into the military. One of the biggest ones is that GI Bill. I can't talk enough about the experience that I got, but I think for you, I get to go out into the world, leave the small town of Kiowa, get to see the rest of the world is always a really good experience too. So on the importance of service, some of the skills that I learned, I think some of the bigger life skills that I took away from the military, the discipline, I really think it was, I wouldn't say I was necessarily lacking it. I think at a younger age in high school, that's one of those things you miss out on right away. But as you get into the military and you continue your service, discipline is one of the big, to me, life skills that you will always get. Another one of those, the attention to detail. It's one of those things that we kind of forget about. A lot of the things I do now, I'm fortunate to be a teacher in Enid at the high school there. I also am the head coach of the golf team, and attention to detail is probably the single most important thing that we do on the golf course. And it makes a difference between us winning and us losing. And unfortunately, I think it's one of those things that kind of goes to the wayside. So it's one of the good things about the military. The attention to detail was paramount. When you're in a battle, if you're security forces, whatever it is, one missed detail is the difference between a catastrophe or a good night. So it's always very important and one of those things that I've kind of stuck with and try to preach to my kids as much as I can. As far as any other skills learned, I go back to the discipline again. Not having it I might have taken a different route, but it kind of kept me grounded. It helped with what I do at the school now, teaching and coaching. The skills that I learned from the military, patience is another one of those that I didn't really mention here, but the patience to be able to go into the classroom and teach. I teach 4 hours of English and I have over 100 kids in those 4 hours, plus my 35 golfers. If I didn't have patience, I don't know what I would do. So it's one of those things. So again, I can't be more proud of my military experience. It's given me a lot. I still have a lot to do, and I really think that experience helps me continue to do things that I want to do in life. So again, thank you for inviting me, and have a good morning.
someone who many of you may already know, though you probably only know him by the serious expression, his service to both our school and our community, and the complete absence of hair long before he knew anything else about it. This is Chief Warrant Officer Clint Erickson, a proud member of the Oklahoma National Guard since 2001. He has served our country with dedication and skill, deploying twice in the defense of our nation. First in 2008 to 2009, and again from 2022 to 2023. His service spans not only years, but the generations of students and soldiers who have learned from him. When he's not fulfilling his duties, he is South Harbor's high school agricultural advisor and teacher. He's known for his serious tone, his steady presence, and, most importantly, for not smiling. Ever. In fact, if you manage to get him to smile, that's considered a major life achievement and something worth a medal. But behind all that seriousness is someone who's given so much of his life in service. To his country, to his community, and to the young people he teaches every day. His impact can be seen in every student he's taught, every soldier he has supported, and every life he has touched, simply by showing what real dedication and hard work looks like. Please welcome me in joining Chief Warrant Officer Clint Erickson, my dad.
Thanks, she overdid it. I am honored to speak to you today on Veterans Day. Tyler, I've been able to keep it together. If I'm being truthful, I was very reluctant for multiple reasons when they approached me about speaking. For one, this is really not my thing, talking that is. Especially when the type of worker or do it, I'm much of a speaker. However, when my youngest child, my little girl to boot, asked me to speak, then how can I say no? She got me up here, so I'm going to try to embarrass her every chance I can. Another reason for my reluctance, as you can see, I get emotional on Veterans Day. I think about my service. I think about the service of others. And the emotional connection of music. If I hear a moving rendition of the national anthem, that service breaks medley, it gets me. And as you can tell, I'll get choked up with my words today. My journey in the military service was somewhat non-traditional. I grew up out west of Hardner, in the Jip Hills near the May Ranch, on the right or wrong side of the state line, depending on your perspective. Patriotism, love, and respect for country was part of my upbringing. My parents would tell us, my siblings and I, the United States, we live in the United States. The land of the free, the land of opportunity. With hard work and determination, you can be anything you want to be. So when I was in high school, I had two passions, playing football and FFA. So I had a plan that I was going to run for state FFA office, go to that orange school, Oklahoma State University, and go to vet school and become a veterinarian. So I set out on this plan. I ran for Northwest District Vice President in the Oklahoma State FFA Association. And I lost. My plan was derailed. So, for the sake of things, I stayed close to home in school at Northwestern in Alvin. But I didn't know what to study. Northwestern didn't have a veterinarian program. So I got thinking, what could I do that still gets me around working with a bunch of animals? Here I am. Teaching. I may have skipped some details for the sake of storytelling. Truth be told, I've fed meals to some of these students, and you want to keep your fingers away from their mouth parts. I started teaching in South Harbor in the fall of 1999. I married my wife, Amy, a couple years later in May of 2001. A month into teaching, in that fall of 2001, tragedy happened on our nation. Terrorist attacks at 9/11. I'll admit, I was angry, but I was also determined to help. I enlisted in the Army, specifically the Oklahoma National Guard, because it allowed me to continue my civilian career as well. And that's how my military service began. Like many at the time, I felt the call to serve my country. And this is going to be hard. Another major reason why I felt reluctant to speak today is that I have complete admiration and extremely thankful for the generations of service members that served before me. I still feel this event, this Veterans Day program, should be meant for them. Your Desert Storm veterans, Vietnam, Korea, World War II. I still remember my very first few Veterans Day programs here at South Harbor, 1999, 2000, 2001. There were so many veterans in attendance, many of them in World War II. I know it's the nature of things, but it still breaks my heart. If you'll indulge me a little longer, I'd like to explain my gratitude for the generations that served before me. I've spent some time overseas on deployments. However, there are very few occasions where I did not have shelter and a decent bed to sleep. And I think about the past generations and the conditions they were in. Possibly sleeping when and where they could, in the cold or on the wet ground. People would ask me about the hardships of being away from family. Don't get me wrong, that's hard. Especially when you know things are wrong, cars broke down, washing machine broke down, you're helpless. That's hard. It's not easy. But during my time, I could regularly call my family on the telephone, see my family with a video call. Here again, I think about the past generations. Maybe waiting weeks, even months, to receive a written letter from home. When I happen to be out in public while in uniform, I will almost always get someone that wants to shake my hand and thank me for my service, which is great. But again, I think service members during the Vietnam War were unfairly harassed and ridiculed by their own country during protest. What I'm trying to say is that the things that I have experienced, the increased quality of life aspects of deployments, the increased soldier care, the increased appreciation of service from society, are all due to the sacrifices and lessons learned from the previous generations. For that, those veterans will always have my genuine respect and sincere thanks. So, for all you students out there that think I'm an emotionalist person, there you go. You have it on record. But that's all I have. Thank you. Thank you.
participate in the Patriots Pen Essay Contest, sponsored by the VFW. This year, the theme was titled, How Are You Showing Patriotism and Support for Our Country? This year's first place winner is Callan Ford, and second place is Jenna Shields. So today we'll have Jenna Shields come and share her speech, and then Callan Ford will share.
How am I showing support and patriotism for our country? I'm a proud United States teenager with a lot of family involved in the U.S. military, and I think it is very important to show support and patriotism for our country. As a sister and granddaughter to people who have served in the U.S. military, I understand how important and difficult it is to serve for our nation. As I was thinking about ways to show support and patriotism for my country, I was a little stumped. Then I realized I didn't have to vote, be active in politics, or even serve to be a proud American. Small things like saying the Pledge of Allegiance every day with respect, taking time to honor those who served, and being involved in activities like the Veterans Day program are small ways any teen can do so. As I also realized there are many ways I personally show support. For example, I show respect and gratitude to my brother, who has been trained to be in the U.S. Air Force through ROTC since his freshman year of high school. I also have grandparents who have served in the U.S. military, and I always try to take time to show respect, love, and support for them. Through their experiences, I understand all the sacrifices and bravery it takes to serve our country. I've been saying the Pledge of Allegiance since kindergarten, and in third grade, a substitute taught us the meaning of each phrase in the Pledge of Allegiance. Although I don't think about it all the time, I still look back and remember how blessed I am to live in this country. The Pledge of Allegiance is a declaration of articulately chosen words and phrases that most people say mindlessly. To take it more seriously, we can all agree that we should stand with our hand on our heart and say the Pledge of Allegiance with sincerity. Although I'm not old enough to vote or be in the military or anything else in that political capacity, I still love, support, and show patriotism for my country in my own way. Writing this essay has helped me realize what I can do to support my country and what I have done. I'm so blessed every day to live in America and will continue to show support and patriotism for my country as I get older.
Patriotism is more than just words, it is an action. Patriotism is defined as showing love, devotion, and attachment to our country. Patriotism can be shown in different ways, from honoring the flag and helping friends and neighbors. For me, I show patriotism through voyage, school, and community experiences. These experiences have taught me how to be a good citizen through the acts of leadership, responsibility, and service. In voyage, I have had the opportunity to show patriotism through acts of leadership. I have organized food drives and helped serve many meals for my local community and county. I have witnessed firsthand how it has impacted multiple people and so allows me to give back to the community. Being able to serve and help others is a way I can show love and support my country. Responsibility is another way to show patriotism through the acts and sacrifices of many men and women who have fought for freedom. I feel as if it is my responsibility to honor their service. Every day at school, my classmates and I say the Pledge of Allegiance to reflect on the great acts of the men and women who have served. Another powerful act of responsibility is singing an event at the end of my heart while I say the Star Spangled Banner is being pledged. These acts remind me that it is my responsibility to be loyal and dedicated to contributing to our country. The most powerful way to show patriotism is through service, and for which I have laid out flags for Memorial Day and remembrance of our veterans. Our club celebrates the country's birthday by having a vote in the harbor for the drag parade. We are able to show pride for our country by decorating the flag in red, white, and blue. The red represents honest and valor, while the white represents purity and innocence. Blue symbolizes vigilance, perseverance, and justice. These colors are displayed of American flag, which is fun with pride at school, events, businesses, and much more. Being able to have the opportunity to serve my community gives me a sense of pride to live in this great country. Showing support for our country through leadership, responsibility, and service is my duty and honor. I strive daily to give back and show support for this great nation.
The seventh grade will now present the missing poem. The table that stands before you is a place of honor. In setting this table, we acknowledge those missing our celebration tonight, and we remember them. The table is small and set for one, symbolizing the vulnerability of a lone prisoner against his captors. Remember.
The tablecloth is white, symbolizing purity of intention in responding to the nation's call to arms. Remember.
The chair is empty, for they are not here. Remember.
The wine glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us this night. Remember. The slices of lemon reminding us of their bitter suffering. Remember.
The grains of salt representing the countless tears of the families. Remember.
The single red rose reminding us of loved ones who kept the faith awaiting their return. Remember.
The burning candle and yellow ribbons symbolizing everlasting hope for reunion with the missing. Remember.
Remember, all who have served alongside them is done the same proud uniform.
Good morning, veterans, teachers, guests, assorted students. My name is Tana Derrickson, and I'm a high school senior here at South Harbor High School. And I am a military brat. In all honesty, I hope I'm not perceived like that. And in actuality, I'm really just a common person. But it was when I was growing up that I realized something. That unlike the common person, I have spent my entire life in the orbit of veterans. I was born and raised by two of them, after all, Clint and Amy Erickson. And when people hear that I'm a military kid, not just from one parent, but both, there's typically a lot of assumptions that follow. People may assume I can do an endless amount of push-ups, that I always make my bed in the morning, and I wake up at 0500 on the dot and on purpose. I would like to be just very upfront with you all. I cannot do any of those things. And yet still, being this so-called military brat, that title has shaped my life from the very beginning. This morning, I would like to share with you what it's really like growing up in a military family and the organization that changed my life. The same one I proudly present to you today, the same one that was there for my betterment even as I was at my worst. Allow me to paint a scene for you all. It was the middle months of 2007. The National Guard was preparing to deploy both my mom and my dad in 2008, leaving my 4-year-old brother, Rustin, to be taken care of by my aunts and cousins in the meantime. But it was during one of these pre-deployment checks that my mom was found to be pregnant with little old me. Needless to say, I have been a liability from the very start. I was born in January 2008, and shortly after, only my father was deployed, and I had single-handedly saved my brother from the fate of being solely raised by my aunt. He should be more grateful to me, really. But even as a baby, and even from the very, very beginning, the veterans in the military have been something I've known very well. But I never really had to experience the full effects of. I remember watching VHS movies and building towers and waiting rooms, and wandering bases clutching my dad's hands as these weirdos in camo passed us by in the hall and called me Little Chief. But I had never experienced missing a parent due to their service in the military. And when I had, I was less than a few months old. That was until 2022. In 2022, my freshman year of high school, my dad was to be deployed yet again. And unfortunately, I was old enough to both remember it and feel the absence. We dropped him off Christmas night, the jolliest day of the year, right? And I remember getting into my bed that night and thinking that this year was going to be rough. And it was rough. Though being in a small, tight-knit community made things better than they would have been. And I'm forever grateful to all of you for that. But my dad was still missing, and I felt as if I was consequently missing out on life. It was then that I learned of an organization by the name of OMK, Our Military Kids, a nonprofit organization that supported the well-being of the children deployed or severely injured military personnel through providing extracurricular grants for the children so that they would not be missing out on life, even as a portion of their own may have been across the world. I myself have been a 2-time receiver of these grants, once for driver's ed and again for my very first lifeguard certification course. I can't speak for all our military kid grant recipients, but from my personal experience as one of them, my life was enriched, and I got to grow not only my skills, but education thanks to their support. And it truly is a powerful feeling to know that somewhere out there is someone who didn't know you in the slightest, and yet supported you anyways. So I'm not speaking as just a student or even as a military brat. I'm speaking as someone who has lived in both the shadow and light of service. I've seen the sacrifice that doesn't always make the headlines. The quiet sacrifice of time, of presence, of missed birthdays and holidays. I've seen what it means to serve without ever putting on a uniform myself. To our veterans here today, thank you. Thank you for every day you showed up, even when it was hard, even when it cost you something. Your service impacts more lives than you ever realize, mine included. To the families, the spouses, the children, the parents, you serve too. Your strength is just as real and just as powerful and just as worthy of recognition. And organizations like OMK, who stepped in to support me when life feels a little too heavy. Thank you for reminding us that we are seen, that we are valued, and that we are never alone. My name is Tana Derrickson. I'm the daughter of 2 veterans and someone who has been shaped by the strength and service around me. And today, just like every day, I'm proud of that. Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Kathy Cox. I am just so honored to be invited to do the choir that combined our students here at South Barber with anyone in the community that wanted to come. I love this program. I say thank you to all of you. I also grew up in a family with a dad who was in the Army and a slew of uncles that were also there. I had an uncle that was on the beach at Normandy. I know how disruptive serving your country can be. It takes your life that you thought you had and changed it completely. So my dad was a World War II veteran. It wasn't like being in a family nowadays where everyone was just patting you on the shoulder. He was very quiet. So we did know that we were to be respectful of the flag and the veterans. And so it was a different life, but it was great. Most of the people in the choir over here, I think, had World War II veterans as well, and the adults. And so thank you for inviting me. This is the joy of my life, is to come sing. And oh, by the way, my father didn't sing a note.
Let it celebrate sweet liberty.
times with each fold holding a special meaning. The flag folding ceremony represents the same religious principles which the United States was originally founded.
The first fold of our flag is a symbol of life.
The second fold is a symbol of all believe in eternal life. The third fold is made in honor and remembrance of the veteran departing our ranks and who gave a portion of his or her life for the defense of our country to obtain peace throughout the world.
The fourth fold represents our weaker nature. As American citizens trusting in God, it is Him we turn to in times of peace, as well as in times of war, for His divine guidance.
The fifth fold is a tribute to our country. In the words of Stephen Decatur, our country, in dealing with other countries, may she always be right, but it is still our country, right or wrong.
The sixth fold is for where our hearts lie. It is with our heart that we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The seventh fold is a tribute to our armed forces, for it is through the armed forces that we protect our country and our flag against all enemies, whether they be found within or without the boundaries of our republic.
The eighth fold is a tribute to the one who entered into the valley of the shadow of death, that we might see the light of day, and to honor our mother, for whom it flies on Mother's Day.
The ninth fold is a tribute to womanhood. Has been through their faith, love, loyalty, and devotion that has molded the character of the men and women who have made this country great.
The tenth fold is a tribute to Father who has also given his sons and daughters for the defense of all countries since he or she was first born.
The 11th fold represents the lower portion of the seal of King David and King Solomon and glorifies the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
The 12th fold represents an emblem of eternity and glorifies both the Father, the Son, and Holy Ghost.
The 13th and last fold, when the flag is completely folded, the stars are uppermost, reminding us of our national motto, "In God we trust."
After the flag is completely folded and tucked in, it takes on the appearance of a cocked hat, ever reminding us of the soldiers who served under General George Washington and the sailors and Marines who served under Captain John Paul Jones and were followed by their comrades and shipmates in the U.S. Armed forces preserving for us the rights, privileges, and freedoms we enjoy today.
Be so blessed to live in our nation that we do get to have freedom and opportunity. And I hope everyone listened to, especially young people, to the speeches that were given today and served and their families who have sacrificed along with them, and also just reflect on the privilege of living in this great nation. We'll have the introduction of our veterans. You guys can either introduce yourself, or we have Rose and Lily that will introduce if you would like them to.
Kent Wheeler, U.S. Navy, 1967.
Dale Webb, U.S. Navy, 1970 to 2000.
Buddy Anderson, U.S. Marine Corps, 68, 69.
Dr. Sid Stranahan, U.S. Army.
Cameron Wood, U.S. Army, 06 to 12. Shane Downs, Rock Eater, Machine Gunner, United States Marine Corps, 75 L.
Tyler Dunham, U.S. Navy, 2004 to 2013.
Stephen Neal, United States Army, 1981 to 1992.
Wow!
Robert R. Brister, U.S. Army, 1969 to 1975.
Cash Lumberland, United States Marine Corps, 2023 to present. Jose Salinas, Army, 2017 present.
Amy Erickson, U.S. Army, 1997 to 2020.
Jules Constantine, 1970 to 1976, United States Navy, submarine service.
Cody Kirkwood, Army Sergeant, 4 years.
Bud Rugia, I served in the United States Air Force from 1962 to 1970.
Lahard Cantrell, U.S. Army, 1970 to 76.
Don Rounds, United States Air Force, 1980, 1984, Sergeant.
Roger Robinson, U.S. Army, 1966 through 73.
Greg Robinson, United States Army, 1981 through 1983, U.S. Army Reserve, 1987 through 88.
Mike Mayberry was in the Air Force, a sergeant from 68 to 69.
Mike Hiltner, U.S. Army, Specialist 5th Class, 4 years.
Dennis Christensen, Army Sergeant, and I served in Vietnam in 68.
Mike Miller, U.S. Army, 71 to 77.
Josh Brown, Kansas Army National Guard, 2015 to 2021.
8th Company, 1st Battalion, 7th Marines. Hello, Okinawa, Komashima, and China, and that's it. Thank you.
Outside, which way the students all are going, veterans, Rabbi Andy Honor Guard. Thank you all. We appreciate this very much.
Yeah.